Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Henry Day Jr. Sports Wrap-Up Show. I'm your host, Henry Day Jr., and today is December the 16th, 2025 on a Tuesday night. So I will not be doing one show, but two shows and one episode. The Henry Day Jr. College Football Playoff Rankings Reaction Show is follow as well. I will be combining two episodes to one combined episode. So I hadn't been on YouTube in a week recording the videos, but I'm pretty much sure I know what I'm going to be talking about tonight. So let's get right to it. Let's get right to week 14. I watched week 14 last weekend. It was a good weekend and a lot of things going on as playoff position is starting to come together, and a lot of things come together as well for 32 teams in the NFL. But who knows what's going to happen in January? So let's get right to it. The Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers played last Sunday in Lambeau Field. It was chilly, down to single-digit weather, but at the end of the day, the Green Bay Packers found a way to beat the Chicago Bears and move to 9-3-1 to a top in the NFC North and dropping Chicago to the number 7 seed. They were the number 1 seed coming into that game, and they lost to the Packers, dropped to 7 in the standings. And then the Pittsburgh Steelers hold off against the Baltimore Ravens. Isaiah Likely's touchdown been notified by replay. If he had that third step down on the field in the end zone, that would have been a go-ahead touchdown by the Baltimore Ravens. Instead, they lost that game, and they dropped to 7 and they dropped to 7-7. No, 7 is they dropped to 6-7. Excuse me. They dropped to 6-7 with that loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers at home. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers continue to slide as well lately. Week 14 lost 24-20 over New Orleans. They lost that to the Saints at home. So they were 7-6 coming into week 15 against Atlanta on Thursday Night Football. The Carolina Panthers had a week off. They won their last game, week 13, over the Rams. And coming to week 15 against New Orleans. We'll get to week 15 in a little bit. I'll be capping week 14 off, fresh out of my mind. The Los Angeles Rams continue to win games. They were 9-3 coming to week 14, and they won their last game prior to the Lions game last Sunday to go to 10-3 of the season, and then they knocked Detroit off on Sunday to go to 11-3. So, and then the Seahawks, they were 9-3 as well, heading to week 14. For the Seattle Seahawks, they are trying to catch up with the Los Angeles Rams for the division title. Prior to their week 15 game against the Indianapolis Colts, in week 14, they knocked off Atlanta, blew them out 37-9 in Atlanta last Sunday. The Seattle Seahawks went to 10-3 after that victory over the Atlanta Falcons. It was a 9-9 game at halftime, and then Shaheed went back for 100+ yards to kick off the third quarter in that victory over the Atlanta Falcons. And I mentioned about the Los Angeles Rams, who won in week 14 as well against Arizona, 45-17, another dominant win by the Rams. And then I can get to a number of teams who just lost week 14 and then week 15 as well. Let's begin with the Indianapolis Colts. Week 14 was not a good day in Jacksonville for Indianapolis. 36-19 losers over the Jacksonville Jaguars. And now the problem now for for Indianapolis, they lost Daniel Jones to a torn Achilles in his right leg. And then he playing with a fractured fibula in the left knee. He already hobbled, and that was the end of the first quarter in that first half of that game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. That the Colts could not find a footing in that ball game. Trevor Lawrence and the offense and defense ran over the Colts that Sunday. That was embarrassing, and it was rainy that day in Jacksonville, but Jaguars pulled it off and won that ball game against the Indianapolis Colts. The Houston Texans come to Kansas City, won 4 consecutive games, and knocked out the Kansas City Chiefs 20-10 on Sunday Night Football to make it 5 consecutive games. On top of it, they are the number 7 seed in the playoffs right now. For the Houston Texans, they ride a lot of momentum, and starting the season 3-5, they are 7-5 coming in. They are 8-5 coming into the two-day game on Sunday at home versus Arizona. And then on the Cleveland Browns, yet another loss, a close loss to Tennessee to knock them out of the playoffs for the second straight year. But Shedeur Sanders played a hell of a game, 360 some passing yards, four combined touchdowns. This is a man who want to lead the Cleveland Browns to glory and greatness next season. But this is a trial one right now for Cleveland for Shedeur Sanders, as they are prepared to take on the Bears last week. So right now, I'm going back to recapping some of the teams from week 14 before week 15. The Buffalo Bills in week 14 knocked off the Cincinnati Bengals in a close game in the snow, 39-34. It was a back and forth game. Remember, it was Cincinnati who took a 10-point lead, and then Benford's pick six off of Joe Burrow put Buffalo right back in the ball game. And so as Josh Allen using his legs and his arms once again to be the superhero once again for being Superman again for the Buffalo Bills. The Bills came back and won that game 39-34 as Cincinnati was on the cusp of a postseason elimination. Now to the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys week 14 against Detroit, 44-30 loss. They needed a win to stay alive in the playoff hunt in the NFC. They lost that game on Thursday night, and then a couple of days later on Sunday Night Football, lost to the Minnesota Vikings, knocked them out of wild card contention. So this is not looking last 2 weeks for Dallas since since the 2 huge wins over the last year's Super Bowl opponents, Philadelphia and Kansas City. Speaking of Philadelphia, Black Friday was not a good day for Philadelphia. Lost to Chicago, and then lost to Chicago on Black Friday, and then lost to the Chargers on Monday Night Football, and then bounced back beating the Raiders on Sunday, 31-0 shutout to go to 9-5 of the season for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now let's recap last week, week 15. And we have a lot of drama in week 15, not just the games, but some injuries in Kansas City and Green Bay. Let's begin with the games first, starting off with the Seahawks and a close win over Indianapolis. Knocked them out in walkout fashion. Jason Myers scored 6 field goals, no touchdowns by Sam Darnold, but they needed every play matching to win that game against the Indianapolis Colts. By the way, Phillip Rivers, welcome back. After 5 years of being retired, he was about to either be named finalist for the Hall of Fame, but now that's going to be put on hold to 2031 at the earliest. Phillip Rivers came back to Indianapolis at the Daniel Jones torn his Achilles the last game against Jacksonville in Week 14, and all the combinations of what Shane Steichen is going to do, who is going to be their quarterback. Remember, Rodney Leonard suffered a knee injury in that game in Jacksonville. Week to week, don't know if he's going to play or not. Now he'll be the backup to Phillip Rivers, who's going to start another game next Monday night versus the 49ers at home. The Indianapolis Colts is 8-6. They need wins and health to win the division or a wild card. Well, I know. The Houston Texans knocked off Arizona in a blowout fashion. 6 straight victories by the Texans. What a great job by the D'Amico Lions to get their team back on track at the start of the season, 3-5. 6 consecutive wins. They got Vegas Sunday, and then the last 2 games in Los Angeles and at home against the Indianapolis Colts. When I'm at in Los Angeles, they're going to take on Justin Herbert and the Chargers for potentially playoff ramifications in the AFC South and the AFC West. And then this comes down to losers out of the playoffs, winner in the playoffs for Houston and Indianapolis. So the New England Patriots coming out of Week 14 bye, who knocked out the Giants prior to the bye week on Monday Night Football, coming into Week 15 faces the Buffalo Bills. With the Patriots get a win, they win the AFC East. They had a 21-point lead. Buffalo came back and win. Buffalo came back, take the lead in the second half of the game. Josh Allen did his magic, but James Cook, 100-plus scrimmage yards, 3 total touchdowns. Travion Henderson with 2 long rushing touchdowns that put him up 31-28, and then Josh Allen with another touchdown pass to put up 35-31 Buffalo. And after all of that, the Bills stopped the Patriots in 4th down. The Bills snapped the Patriots' 10-game winning streak and preventing the Patriots from winning the AFC East for the first time since the 2019-20 season. Now they're down 1 game with 3 left to play for the Buffalo Bills, with a chance to win the AFC East for the 6th consecutive year. Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens coming to Cincinnati, blowing them tails off against the Bengals. Now they're out of playoff contention. Joe Burrow is going to expect to play the final 3 games of the season for the Bengals. And Joe Flacco will remain his backup, but at the end of the day, Flacco and Burrow are probably going to be switching anyway throughout the last 3 games of the season for the Bengals. Another loss by the Cleveland Browns, got blown out by Chicago. Did not score a single touchdown all day on Sunday. But good news is Myles Garrett got another sack and a half. I forgot to tell everybody that Myles Garrett is about a sack and a half away from setting the new record for most sacks in a single season. Michael Strahan set it in 2002 with 22 and a half. TJ Watt 3 years ago tied the record with 22 and a half sacks. All Myles Garrett has to do is either get a sack and a half or 2 full sacks to break the record. Myles Garrett's a special player. He wants to play in a winning team. But once in Cleveland, not good. But at the end of the day, Myles Garrett should be named the Defensive Player of the Year. Give him that award. He won it 2 years ago when the Browns made the playoffs that year. And I like to see him winning a second Defensive Player of the Year after all said and done, after he's breaking the sack record. Could be making history in Cleveland, either this Sunday in Cleveland against Buffalo, or next Sunday in Cleveland against the Steelers, or next Sunday in Cincinnati against the Bengals. We'll find out starting on Sunday. Now, the Pittsburgh Steelers have won last night, eliminating Miami out of the playoffs. Another good game by Aaron Rodgers for the Steelers. Are now 8-6, one up with Baltimore on 7-7. Doesn't really matter. It could come down to Week 18 between the Steelers and the Ravens for the division title in a home playoff game. The Steelers will be on the road the next 2 weeks. They're going to be in Detroit Sunday and Cleveland next Sunday. While Baltimore, they're going to host the Patriots Sunday night. And they're going to be in Green Bay and they're going to come to Pittsburgh for the final week of the regular season. Anything can happen. We'll find out starting this weekend. The Kansas City Chiefs just got knocked out of the playoffs. After 11 years of not making it, the Kansas City Chiefs, for the first time since the 2014 season, the Chiefs would not make the postseason. It's been a nice, almost decade run dynasty by the Chiefs when Patrick Mahomes became the full-time starting quarterback in the 2018-19 season. Win the Super Bowl back in 2019-20 season, back-to-back 2021, 22-23, 23-24, and last year as well. 5 Super Bowls, 3 wins. And what's the future of Kansas City? What's the future of Travis Kelce? This is his last year. Potentially, this is it. Can he be out on the field for the last 3 games of the Chiefs season? Now we know everybody knows that Patrick Mahomes torn his ACL and his LCL, but no other ligaments have been damaged. That's a tough blow to swallow for Kansas City to not only got knocked out by the Los Angeles Chargers, but you got knocked out of contention for a playoff spot. Your franchise player, the face of the NFL, has been taken out of action for the rest of the year. I've been told after he had surgery yesterday, it will be 9 to 12 months, but hopefully he'll be ready to go by week 1 of next season. What is the Kansas City Chiefs going to do? I don't know. I don't think they're not going to rebuild. They're going to retool, potentially bring back Travis Kelce next season. But this Chiefs team is not looking good. You watch the games. You saw what happened. You go back to the Indianapolis games. You went back to the Indianapolis games. They got lucky winning in overtime. Go back to Thanksgiving, and they lost to Dallas. They lost to the Houston Texans. That's last Sunday night, and then you lost to your rival, the Los Angeles Chargers, on Sunday, and they knocked you out of the playoffs. So this is one of those years that you're not going to be able to go to the playoffs or make another run at a Super Bowl because your franchise player is out for the rest of the year with a huge, severe torn ACL, torn LCL, and he has surgery, and be 9 to 12 months. They say mid to late September he'll be back, but I don't think it's not going to be that. I think he could come back before week 1 of the regular season. I expect that he'll be back week 1 to come back strong to get the Kansas City Chiefs back to prominence once again. I will be praying for Patrick Mahomes and his wife, Brittany, and their family for his speedy recovery. Patrick Mahomes, you're a great warrior, big fan of yours, and you don't let nobody down. And when Andy Reid says that, hey, it's retooling, not rebuild, we don't know what the status for Travis Kelce for next season, but at the end of all of that, the Chiefs going to be back stronger than ever for a big-time playoff run next year. Nothing but the best for Patrick Mahomes and his speedy recovery. For the Kansas City Chiefs, hopefully they get back to prominence next year. So let's switch gears. Well, by the way, for the Los Angeles Chargers, they beat the Kansas City Chiefs 16-13. That's one of the note. Let's switch to the Sunday night game. Dallas lost to Minnesota once again. They are knocked out of wild card contention. Either Philadelphia win the division, or if Dallas lose Sunday, they are completely out of the playoffs against the Los Angeles Chargers. So, all right, let's switch gears to the NFC. The Los Angeles Rams will be taking on the Seattle Seahawks Thursday night. We don't know what the status. Devontae Adams was injured at hamstring Sunday in that win versus Detroit. That they will come to a game time decision whether or not he's comfortable playing on Thursday night. We'll find out. The weather in Seattle is expected to be rainy throughout the day in Seattle on Thursday. That game starts at 5:15 Pacific time. Hopefully the rain will be tapering off during the game, so nothing too serious, should not be serious injuries. So we'll see what's going to happen. In that matchup, you got Sam Darnold, who had 4 interceptions in their last meeting versus the Rams week 11 last month. But Matt Stafford, He's might be my MPV favorite right now. The way the Rams play, the way he played, he got a few interceptions here and there in the last couple of weeks. I can see Matt Stafford winning MVP for the first time in his career. And this is not a joke. This is for real. I can see Matt Stafford winning MVP. I can see the Rams go to the Super Bowl. That game between the Rams and Seahawks, everything at stake. Remember, the Rams are in the postseason with that win Sunday against Detroit. Seattle, it's a win-and-in scenario for them. They win, they be the number 1 seed with 2 weeks left to play. They win, they in the playoffs, or lost by Detroit, got them into the playoffs the other way. I mentioned about Philadelphia, the Eagles. If they win the division, this will be the first time in 20 plus years that we don't have a back-to-back NFC East champion. If Philadelphia wins, that streak could break Saturday versus Washington. The Chicago Bears, who play and host against the Green Bay Packers, Fox got those 2 games in that doubleheader starting at 4 o'clock Saturday afternoon. The Commanders host the Eagles. Bears and Packers will meet again. The winner of that game with the Lions loss is in the postseason. I don't care who goes first. Either the Bears win, they in the playoffs first, or Green Bay wins and they in the playoffs first. Out of those 2, the winner of that game, along with the Detroit loss, in the playoffs. And the NFC South, Tampa Bay versus Carolina starting on Sunday, and it ends week 18 in Tampa. And in between, Carolina hosts Seattle, and Tampa Bay go down to Miami. This is the issue to where that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers lost now back-to-back games since that win over Arizona. They lost to back-to-back division opponents. Lost to New Orleans 2 weeks ago and lost to Atlanta last Thursday night. They 7-7. Carolina come up a huge win over the Rams. They got a bye, and it was 7-7. It was 7-6. They win Sunday. They would have won that game in New Orleans Sunday. They would have been 8-6 and be on 1 game heading to their first meeting on Sunday. Now it's 7-7, and the winner would lead the division. The Detroit Lions hosted the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday. This is a must-win for the Lions. They lost to Los Angeles last week after they beat Dallas the previous week. This is like, I'm not saying an elimination game yet. If Detroit does beat Pittsburgh, they stay alive in the playoffs. Green Bay, and this is a huge loss. Michael Parsons, torn ACL, done for the year. If anybody see the non-contact injury to Michael Parsons in the 3rd quarter, grabbing that left knee, knowing that's going to be it for him. I see that every year in every league. Non-contact injuries in a player season. And this is the one example that nobody tackled Michael Parsons. Nobody grabbing his leg. When it's a non-contact situation, there he goes. And I feel bad for Michael Parsons and Patrick Mahomes. They done for the year. And it might be 9 months as well because of the surgery. 9 months, he could be back the same time that Patrick Mahomes is going to be coming back in week 1. This is a huge loss for the Packers, and they crest for the number 1 seed in the NFC North too. But right now, they have to move on to focus on Saturday night's game against the Bears in Chicago. That's going to be a cold game too. Christian Watson left the game on Sunday. Good news, it's not going to be a long-term injury. He's probably not going to miss no time. He got a shoulder injury. He got a chest injury. He should be back ready to go on Saturday. That's great news coming out for the Packers offense. Joe 11 needs his best receiver back in the game Saturday night versus the Bears. The Packers been dealing with some injuries, including Tucker Kraft, his best tight end, torn that ACL against the Carolina Panthers at home. And Michael Parsons torn his ACL Sunday in Denver. That game is high altitude. And This is why you got to bring it to your best. You beat the Broncos. Packers, they best and lost. Dropped to 7 in the standings. Let's go to the San Francisco 49ers. They played so well. 4 straight wins since Brock Purdy came back from that tough toe injury in the game against the Cardinals. He played in a much better state of mind than early in the season with that injury. Now, we all know what's going on with the Brandon Ayuk situation. Is he coming back to play this season or not? Recovery from the torn ACL 7 last season. And we now know that he will not be back playing for the 49ers this season, but they have to move on. The 49ers need a win or a Lions loss for them to make the playoffs. By the way, the Super Bowl will be hosted in Santa Clara in February. Alexa, when is the Super Bowl starting?
2 undetermined opponents will face off in the Super Bowl on Sunday, February 8th at 6:30 p.m. The game will be shown on NBC.
February 8th at Levi's Stadium in SoFi. Levi's Stadium, Santa Clara, California. Remember, almost 10 years ago, make that 9. The last time the Super Bowl was in that stadium, it was Super Bowl 50, Carolina and Denver. That stadium hosted the 50th Super Bowl, and that stadium going to be hosting the milestone game, the 60th game. So, this has been one of those situations for the 49ers. If they can get all the way to the number 1 seed, home field is going to be go through Santa Clara. Not just the divisional game, the NFC title game. They become the 3rd team in NFL history to host and win the championship in their home stadium. The Buccaneers did it in 21. The Rams did it the next year in 22. If the 49ers get their way, they will host the Super Bowl, potentially winning in their home stadium. Try to make it 3 in history for a team to host the Super Bowl in their home stadium and win it in their home stadium. So if the 49ers win, they're in the playoffs. Now, the question is, can they get some help out of Seattle and Los Angeles to get to the NFC West? That's the question. They will have to watch that game between the Rams and Seahawks. They got to face each other off. By the way, 49ers Seahawks playing the last week of the season. Despite the 2 teams potentially be in the playoffs, they still got something to play for. Number 1 seed, division title. I can see it's a wild west in the NFC. It's a stacked NFC. I don't care who's going to pick to win the NFC Championship or be the NFC representative in the Super Bowl. Something tells me out of the Rams or 49ers will be one of those teams to have the opportunity to go into the Super Bowl. All right, let me go back, switch gears one more time to the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos played a great game against the Green Bay Packers Sunday at home. Won 12 straight home games. They're 9-1 versus the NFC. Bo Nix played a hell of a football season so far in his second year out of Auburn and Oregon. Bo Nix, he talking about Mr. Auburn Tiger. Sean Payton, the head coach of the Denver Broncos, put in a program for Bo Nix to start the season. He got some slow gains, but he make it the best out of it. The Broncos won 11 straight. They on the inside track to become the number 1 team in the AFC. Here's the caveat. Denver, they in the playoffs. They already in the playoffs. They win the division and they beat Jacksonville and Clint. They win the division. They beat Jacksonville, or the Chargers lose to the Cowboys. They got a chance now to win home field and a bye in the AFC with a win over Jacksonville, a Patriot loss, and a Buffalo Bill loss, and the Chargers loss as well. They will clinch the playoffs. They already in the playoffs. They will clinch not only the division but the 1 seed in the AFC. Jacksonville, a win and a little help, they in the playoffs as well. This is a statement for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I like to see what Trevor Lawrence continue doing on that field. Same as Travis Etienne, his teammate out of Clemson. What Liam Cohen did was a hell of a job in his first year as the Jacksonville Jaguars head coach. Pretty good program. Bring your players together, bring the team together, but also you're winning football games. Now you up one game in the AFC South behind Houston. You play 1-1 in your season series meetings against the Texans, who's now 9-5 now. Jacksonville, if they beat Denver Sunday and New England loses to Baltimore on Sunday, they're gonna be up. They're gonna be moving to number 2 with 2 games left to play. They got a shot to get home field and host those 3 playoff home games in Jacksonville. I like to see it, but Jacksonville got to win. They got to win out to get a little help. That's pretty much do it. All right, Week 15 begins on Thursday night. I will be back for the pregame show at 6 or 6:30 on Thursday before Rams Seahawks. And that's it for the Henry Day Jr. Sports Wrap-Up Show. Up now, it's the Henry Day Jr. Sports. It's the Henry Day Jr. College Football Playoff Rankings Reaction Show. The final ranking reaction show of the college football season starts now. And welcome to the final edition of the Henry Day Jr. College Football Playoff Rankings Reaction Show. I'm Henry Day Jr. at 8:45 Eastern, 12/16/25 Tuesday. And I had not been on YouTube for a week, taking a break for a week. I'm back, and now we're going to be talking about college football playoffs. Now, we know what happened, and we know what did happen at the ranking show just a week ago. And a lot of changes have been going on in the 12 teams in that tournament for the college football playoffs. We know what happened in the Big Ten title game. The Buckeyes 16-13 loss, snapped their 16-game winning streak, but dropped the 1 spot. While the Indiana Hoosiers and now Heisman Trophy winner Fernando Mendoza put the Hoosiers in the top of the bracket, the number 1 team in the country. Now they're undefeated, the last undefeated team of the year for the season. So let's go to the 12 teams first, and I will get off 1325 on my cell phone. Indiana's number 1, number 2, Ohio State, 3, Georgia, 4, Texas Tech, number 5, Oregon, number 6, Ole Miss, number 7, Texas A&M, number 8, Oklahoma, and 5 through 8 will get a home playoff game. Number 9, Alabama, who got embarrassed by Georgia in the SEC title game on December the 6th. And this would be a controversial selection by the selection committee. Are you bringing Miami or Notre Dame? They decided on Miami because of the head-to-head win over Notre Dame. A lot of people in Notre Dame not pleased about the decision that the committee they made. If they had not put in Alabama, you would have had Notre Dame and Miami in, and you still bring in the two Group of 5 champions. They're making history. In the Group of 5, make history. 2 teams have won in conference championships. Tulane and JMU. Welcome to the party. They are 11 and 12 teams in the college football playoffs. Your first round games are starting Friday and Saturday. The Friday night game, Oklahoma hosting Alabama just last month, 23-21 in Tuscaloosa. That's the first meeting of the season. But the stage and the states are now been raising higher. The winner of that game moves on to the quarterfinals of the college football playoffs. Can Alabama advance that last month's loss and move on to the playoffs? Can Oklahoma make it 2 in a row against Alabama to move on? Can we see Todd Simpson reborn again in this game than he did in the SEC championship game? John McTeal was injured for most of the year, but bring Oklahoma to prominence with Brad Venables. And one thing I can tell you about Oklahoma, their toughness. That's how they got into the tournament this season. The second game of the college football playoff will be a triple header Saturday, the second of 3 the first of 3 games, you got Miami and Texas A&M from College Station Saturday on ESPN. 2 of those games going to be on ESPN ABC on Friday and Saturday. Miami got lucky because of the head-to-head win over Notre Dame. They're going to take on a tough Aggie team who lost their first game this year to Texas Black Friday. This is not the way they want to end the regular season. Miss out of the SEC tournament, but SEC championship game. But they got lucky that this is the playoffs now, and they get a home playoff game at Kyle Field. Can the Aggies take advantage, or what the Hurricanes upset the the Aggies? Remember, the Alabama-Oklahoma winner will take on Indiana in the Rose Bowl. The winner of the Aggies-Hurricanes game will take on Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl. That's your 7 versus 10 matchup. You got 6 versus 11. Ole Miss hosting Tulane. Winner of that game will take on the 3 seed Georgia in New Orleans in the Sugar Bowl. No Lane Kiffin because now he's in LSU as the new head coach. And this is a different Ole Miss team. They still number 6 in the last rankings this year. Can Trinidad Chamberlain's found a way to get the Rebels advancing to New Orleans. Speaking of New Orleans, Tulane, can they put up an upset and advance back home to take on Georgia in the college football playoffs? I love upsets. I want to see 1 in the first round, maybe 2 in the first round, but we'll see. The winner of that game will be in New Orleans taking on Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. And last but not least, to cap out your Saturday, Dante Moore in Oregon will host James Madison in Eugene, Oregon. The winner of that game take on Texas Tech in the Orange Bowl. Oregon lost to Indiana earlier in the year, makes out of the Big Ten championship game. But that's not stopped the Ducks. They are back in the playoffs for the second year in a row behind Dan Lanning. And can they go back to the college football playoff quarterfinals if they knocked out JMU on Saturday? Now, remember, the quarterfinals will be starting New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. All of those games on ESPN. The Cotton Bowl going to be on New Year's Eve. The Rose Bowl, Sugar Bowl, and Orange Bowl is going to be on New Year's Day. The 4 winners will be heading to the semifinals. 2 of the winners will be in Atlanta for the Chick-fil-A Bowl, and the other 2 winners going to be in Glendale for the Fiesta Bowl. And the winners of those semifinal matches, the 2 winners will be heading to Miami for the national championship game. Alexa, what day is the national championship game?
The 2026 College Football Playoff Championship between 2 undetermined teams will kick off on Monday, January 19th at 7:30 p.m. at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida, and will be shown on ESPN.
January 19th is the national championship game in Miami that Monday night. If I was Ohio State, I will win my quarterfinals and my semifinal match before we book a ticket to Miami to defend our championship. I'd be stunned if Miami beat us and they be winning in the semifinals to host the championship game. We had never had a college football team host and win a national championship game. Can the Hurricanes become the first team to do it in college football playoff history? We'll find out soon enough throughout the playoffs. But in the level of confidence that these 12 teams can have, we know what happened last year when Ohio State lost to Michigan. The confidence says all themselves. Don't worry about the Michigan game. Our next goal is going to the playoffs. We in as the AC. We knocked out Tennessee. We blow out Oregon in the Rose Bowl. We beat a Texas team in their place at the Cotton Bowl, and then we went to Atlanta for the national championship game and knocked out Notre Dame. Ohio State knows what it's like to come back from a heartbreaking loss, to come back to win it all. I like to see that happening again for the Buckeyes this year to repeat as national champions. But I want to say good luck to the other 11 teams. You're going to need it. It's going to be a fun playoffs this season like we did last season. Now from 13 to 25. Well, let's look at the last college football playoff rankings. 13 to 25. So we know the 12 teams in the playoffs. So let's get the complete list. We know that Indiana, Ohio State, Georgia, Texas Tech, Oregon, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Alabama, Miami, the 10th team in the playoffs. Notre Dame, BYU, the two teams left off of the playoffs. Texas, Vanderbilt, they left off as well. Utah 15, 16. USC 17. It's Arizona 18, Michigan 19, Virginia. If Virginia would have won the ACC tournament, they're going to be in. And we didn't have to worry about the Miami Notre Dame situation. Instead of two Power 5 teams, group of 5 teams, we won in. But because Duke won that game in overtime in the championship game, Miami's in the playoffs, and 2 group of 5 teams is in the playoffs as well. Tulane's number 20, but they are the 11th seed in the playoff bracket. 21 Houston, 22 Georgia Tech, 23 Iowa, 24 JMU, who are the last team in the playoffs after 12th seed, and no Texas is 25. So, like I said, how many times I said, if anybody can make a statement in the first week of the playoffs, they could damn sure dominate those games right now. Right, left, right. I don't care. As long as Ohio State is in that last stage in the tournament in Miami, they're gonna win back-to-back games, back-to-back championships in Miami. Before I go, we got some breaking news coming out of Jeremiah Love, the running back from Notre Dame. He's going to announce that he's going to be declared to go to the NFL draft. I'm so proud of Jeremiah Love. He was part of one of the 4 finalists for the Heisman Trophy this year, along with Julian Saint, Diego Babila, and Fernando Mendoza for the Heisman Trophy. Jeremiah Love had a great season with Notre Dame. He would have loved to end his Notre Dame career in the playoffs, but that's how these things go. But Notre Dame will lose one of their best running backs in Jeremiah Love, who's now declared to the NFL draft. And that last game that Love played in the last week of the regular season, that was his final game in Notre Dame. Notre Dame selfish from taking their name out of record, taking their name out for a chance to play at a bowl game. I think 17's not going to play at a bowl game. Notre Dame was one of them. But Jeremiah Love is going to play no matter where he's going to be playing in the NFL next season. The draft next season will be in Pittsburgh, so that's in April. And we don't know what team he's going to draft to. I respect Jeremiah Love as a running back. He's played phenomenal with Marcus Freeman in Notre Dame. When he had a dominant first game in the playoffs last year, and then he got limped, and then he limped his way to the finish line in the playoffs last year to the national championship game. His productivity was dropped a little bit because of the ankle injury, but at the end of the day, Jeremiah Love is a stud. He's a great player, great running back. His time in Notre Dame has come to an end and declared for the NFL draft. Shout out to you, Jeremiah Love. You do great things in the NFL. Continue to master high expectations in the NFL. The college football playoffs will start Friday in Norman, Oklahoma on ESPN and ABC, and will end on ESPN for the national championship game Monday, January 19th in Miami. That's all. That's it for my last ranking show of 2025-26 college football season. I'd like to thank everybody who watching this, but also making it happen for the college football season. I hope everybody has a great rest of the year. Congratulations to the 12 teams who make the playoffs. Ohio State, bring back the natty for the second year in a row to me. Back to the state of Ohio, to my home state, back to the horseshoe, to Columbus, Ohio. I will be watching all of the playoff games. I plan on watching some of the bowl games, but I plan on be watching all of the playoff games. It's going to be in a fantastic college football playoffs that's going to be ever experienced in 2025-26. I will be back Thursday for the NFL pregame show at 6:30 before the Rams Seahawks game gets started. I'll see you guys then. Y'all have a great rest of your night and have a great rest of your week.